Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Phoenix Motor Speedway for the GUNR4SR Championship season finale at Phoenix Motor Speedway. Want to thank you for joining us here on Sim Racing Media. We've covered a couple of these championship series for this racing league before. My name's Jonathan Leach. Joining me shortly in the booth is going to be Liam Ervig. We're going to take just a few moments as qualifying is beginning here on track, and we're going to talk about how these drivers got to this championship finale. And we're going to try to spend a few moments speaking to the final three. That's right, everybody. Only 3 drivers are going to be in the finale for this event. As you see on screen, the graphic is up. Round of 8 started September 26th, went through October 10th. Then the round of 6. So they only cut 2 drivers in the first round. And then after the round of 6, Las Vegas, Miami, and Martinsville, we are left with Nick Snyder, Mike Aiello Jr., Chris Gilbert. Those are your drivers that will be battling for the championship. And if we take a quick look at your final 3 right here as these drivers are gridding, hard to say that fan favorite or the favorite for the championship is not going to be one Nicholas Snyder in the 05 machine. Out of 28 starts, he has 11 wins, 23 top 5s, and has yet to finish outside of the top 10. Drivers that are competing with him to win the championship, you have Chris Gilbert in the number 35, 25 starts, 2 wins, 15 top 5s, 23 top 10s. Mike Aiello Jr. is going to roll off in third, 27 starts with 1 win, 20 top 5s, 26 top 10s, driving the number 77. Folks ran out a little time pre-race. I do anticipate to see some level of cautions in this event. We'll be sure to speak to these drivers at every opportunity that we have for this event. Rolling off on the pole is going to be Christian Charbonneau. Outside of the pole for him is going to be Nicholas Snyder. I'm going to have to call him the favorite for the championship tonight. Mike Aiello Jr., row 2, on the outside of him is going to be Chris Gilbert. So the 3 battling for the championship can be found in rows 1 and row 2. Brandon Meyer and Dakota Dole make up row number 3. Row number 4 is Chad Rowe and Rob Charbonneau. Row 5, excuse me, that changed now. Jordan Tanzel and Chad Rowe. Row 5 is going to be Jonathan Eason and Rob Charbonneau. Row 6, Eric Schur and Reggie Picard. Special shout out to Eric in number 22 for contacting us here at Sim Racing Media so that this event gets shown to the fans. And all right, any moment now we're going to be under green. As you see that pace machine down on pit road, it's going to be 105 laps here at Phoenix Motor Speedway. Waiting for these drivers to come around. 1.01 miles. The length temperature 78 degrees at 1,000 feet above sea level. The Hendrick Cars.com number 5 next to the Mountain Dew machine number 9. And Christian Charbonneau is on the throttle as we cross the start-finish line. Immediately tries to take the shortcut to gain an advantage. Out in front by 4 cars now over Snyder and Aiello. Aiello side by side with Snyder. This is the battle for second. Just behind them you have Chris Gilbert and Brandon Meyer. Already half a lap complete here at Phoenix Motor Speedway for the GUNR4SR Championship. Noticeable things to know about this event. Lap 25 is going to be the stage. Stage 1 is going to be lap number 25. Important to know. So lap 25 comes around. We'll keep an eye out and see where these drivers are and try to give you an update accordingly. Nicholas Snyder's now out front. A battle right here for second between Aiello Jr. and the number 9 machine, number 9 Mountain Dew machine, and Christian Charbonneau. Chris Gilbert, Mike Aiello Jr. sitting 3rd and 4th respectively. Best time on track currently 27:57. Slowest lap around the track, Brandon Meyer in the number 11 machine. Fastest lap is Nicholas Snyder. We'll give him a second. He's marred back into the traffic. I expect to see faster than that lap times. Out in front, the top 5 are all within 2 seconds of each other, and the top 4 are all within 1 second. Take a look here one more time at the race info. So the configurations, the oval, the dog leg is open. We've already seen drivers try to cut the dog leg. You're seeing it right here. Out of Christian Charbonneau, or Charbonneau, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Please forgive me if you're not. I'm adding a Louisiana-style twang to that. Lap 5 of 105 complete. We're showing the best lap times on the ticker. We're going to change that to the gap. As you see the change right here. Gap now half a second first to second. Driver in the wall. I believe that was Aiello Jr. just kissing the outside wall right there. Doesn't seem to be too much damage on that machine of his. A little bit further back here, 8th through 11th, you've got Chad Rowe, Rob Charbonneau, Reggie Packard, Brandon Meyer. Meyer posting a much better speed last time around. Not to mention the number 22 machine of Sure. Take a close look at that car. Once again, special shout out to these guys letting us come on board with them for their championship race, which once again consists of Nick Snyder, Chris Gilbert, and Mike Aiello Jr. in the number 77 machine. Everybody's chasing Snyder. Half a second out in front. Consistently fastest lap times on track so far. Hasn't been able to step away too much just yet. Right here is a battle between Chris Gilbert. Gilbert looking to the inside of Aiello Jr. is going to make that pass. Move Gilbert 1 position closer to being in the championship slot. A little single file more towards the front here, but here's trouble right here in the back. Chad Rowe and the number 10 machine of Dakota Dole. First sign of trouble occurs on lap number 10. So that occurred on lap number 10. I'm going to try to show you exactly how this occurred. You see it right there. We'll try to back it up once more. Slow it down just a bit. And you see the number 10 machine kind of sliding up to 69, having nowhere to go. Contact is made. That's going to be caution number 1 on this for this evening right here. Information to note that stage 1, again, lap 25. These drivers have 5 sets of tires. There are no fast repairs. They have 70% fuel. I don't expect fuel to be a problem. Fast repairs not being a thing need to be recognized for the number 69 machine and the number 10. Both of those drivers a part of the contact that we just saw. So out front, it's going to be restarting here, probably around lap, looks like this next time by. Nicholas Snyder in the 05, Christian Charbonneau, row number 1, row number 2, Michaelo Jr., Chris Gilbert. So once again, the top 3 battling, within the top 4 are the 3 drivers battling for an opportunity to win this championship. So we'll be back to green here in just a couple moments. Back to green right here for the number 5 machine. Nicholas Snyder is going to cut down to the dog leg. Charbonneau is going to stay up top. It's not going to work out for him. Chris Gilbert stayed up top. It didn't quite work out for him. Lost a little bit of position on these guys. Whole field, pretty much single file until you come all the way to the back here. Now single file as Jonathan Easton closed the door. You see the Rob Charbonneau, the 71, close the door there. Jonathan Easton chasing from the 9th position, looking for 8th right back here. Big wiggle by the 04. No caution. Big hit. Try to see what occurred right here. No caution for this. I'm going to speed this up. That looked like a wheel malfunction if I've ever seen one, right into the wall. That is very unfortunate for him. As the race is still green, he is now off track. First casualty of the night is going to be that number 4 machine. I no longer see him on track. All right, we're almost to the 25 lap mark, which is going to be stage 1. Top 3 drivers all within half a second of each other. Top 4 within 1 second of each other. These drivers are with each other step for step. That being said, I expect them to be there at the end together. Who of the final 3 is it going to be? Is it going to be Snyder, who's out front, led the most laps? Is it going to be Chris Gilbert? Is it going to be Aiello Jr.? Are we going to have a spoiler win the race and a different driver win the championship? Take a look here at the playoff standings one more time. Notice how the number 9 machine of Christian Charbonneau was not in the playoffs. So we're going to keep an eye on that. He's here to play spoiler. And wouldn't you want to play spoiler? I always prefer 2 burnouts over 1 at the end of a race. Only 8 cars remaining on the lead lap. Final car on the lead lap is Chad Rowe, who we saw have trouble earlier. 5 laps to stage 1. We're going to get a break, and then we're going to take that time to interview the 3 drivers contending for the championship. Out front, Nicholas Snyder slowly starting to step away from the number 9 machine. And a little further even still from the number 35, but still these drivers, their lap times are all within a tenth of each other. 27.90 to 27.92, or excuse me, to 27.96. So they're within 600ths of each other. Is what their last lap times were. Everybody's chasing Nicholas Snyder though. All right, coming into the tri-oval section right here for Snyder. Past the Geico restart zone, cross the start-finish line. Such a unique racetrack here, and you can see it on screen. It's very, very unique. The dogleg situation is interesting, and it creates for excellent racing, and really gives you a lot of options on restarts when trying to get in front of other drivers, and it gives these guys the ability to run 4 or 5 wide if somebody can get their nose in a position to make that happen. A little further in the back as we're approaching the end of stage 1. The number 63 of Jordan Tansel is in the 5th place position, approaching the number 77 of ILO Jr. 1.5 laps remaining to go here. Tansel, another driver that you notice is not a part of the playoffs, wasn't in them initially and is not in them now. Stage 1 is now complete. Race leader Nicholas Snyder. P2, number 9 machine of Christian Charbonneau. P3 is Chris Gilbert. P4 ILO Jr. Rounding out the top 5, Jordan Tansel. 8 drivers are on the lead lap. I do expect the number 48 Ally machine to get at least one wave around. Going to take a moment here. I do expect these drivers to come down pit road. When they do come, after they come down pit road, we're going to try to get a quick word in with Nick Snyder, our race leader. Led down pit road by Nicholas Snyder in the number 5 machine. Everybody's a taker. I imagine you're going to take 4 tires here since it's under caution. 4 tires, maybe a splash of fuel. ILO Jr. pulling into his stall. Drives through the Chris Gilbert machine. Tires coming up for Gilbert. Tires a little slow coming up for ILO Jr. We're going to have to keep an eye on these stops. Left tires up for Snyder. Car down. Snyder is waiting. Snyder is going to lose the race off pit road. He's going to lose multiple positions. He's going to exit in 5th place. So that being said, we're going to search to try to bring in one of our final 4 drivers, final 3 drivers that is. Base light's still on right here. We do have some time. We'll reach out over here to Nick Snyder. Nick Snyder, Jonathan Leach in the booth. You have a reading on me, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, good to hear from you. You led the most laps here, stage 1, just went through pit road, came out 5th, going in 1st. I don't assume that was by design. What do you think you're going to have to do here for the next 80 laps to come out with this, your 12th win and the winner of the championship?
Just being patient. The pit crew just added more fuel. Basically, he's doing 2 stops or whatever. And that's the reason for me coming out in fifth. But I'll just be patient and try to work my way back up front.
All right, well, we'll be definitely looking for you to do that. And on the off chance you don't get to speak to us here at the end, is there anybody you'd like to mention while you're in the booth on track?
Everybody that's just watching and taking their time on a Tuesday night to watch the final race for Gunner, and hopefully we put on a good show.
So far, so good. Well, good luck to you. Hopefully, we'll talk again.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that's Nick Snyder, who we just heard from. He's getting ready to strap the belts tight real quick. Go ahead and close the visor. It's desert out here, and it's pretty sunny, so I expect him to close the visor. Pace car coming around. Your top drivers currently on row 1 will be Charbonneau and Gilbert. Pace car down pit road. Drivers cinch those belts up. Tony Trapasso used to have a famous saying, wipe the visor, grandma, grab your popcorn, cinch the belts tight. Drivers, it's showtime. Coming to lap number 30. Coming down to the Geico restart zone. We like to call that the SRM restart zone. And on the throttle is the number 9 Mountain Dew machine for Christian Charbonneau. Takes to the dog leg, followed by ILO Jr. Chris Gilbert stays on track. Side by side for second, just about. No, I take that back. Gilbert's going to have the position. Snyder already moving into P4 around the number 63 of Jordan Tanzel. Has a position back in less than a half a lap. So Nicholas Snyder, we just saw what happened right there on the replays. He gets loose. We're going to show it one more time into the wall. Worried that could have been it for Nicholas Snyder. Thought that maybe he had some help getting turned by the 63. He did not. This occurred just from being loose, driving the car. Thought he might have some extremely heavy damage, and that's not quite the case. It looks like that machine's going to be just fine. and he ought to be able to continue on in this race. So rolling down pit road right now, just spent a minute and 17 seconds. Excuse me, 55 seconds on pit road. Getting ready to come back out on track. The car looks okay. I'm not going to count him out of this one just yet. So this should be back to green here. In just a couple moments. Stacked up, pace lights are off. Snyder's going to be restarting towards the tail end of the lead lap. So around the 8th car, about row 5. He's coming around. Row 1 right now is going to be made up of Charbonneau, Chris Gilbert, Erica Schurer moved up to 3rd, Brandon Meyer 4th. You can see Snyder coming around right here trying to catch up to hop in line. He is in line. We're coming back to green, coming to lap number 36. Back to green for these drivers now. Out front's the Mountain Dew machine. Battle for second between Meyer and Gilbert. Gilbert wants the position. So does Schurer, a couple spots behind them. What does Gilbert have for Brandon Meyer? Chevy versus Ford. Chevy leading the race. Gilbert's going to go to the dog leg. It's going to spin. Off the track. No caution. Caution does not come out. Nearly does a 360. Back on track. No caution. All kinds of wrong for Chris Gilbert. Only saving grace is he's still in the race. No fault spin right here for Chris Gilbert. Back up front, battle for the lead. Brandon Meyer challenging for the lead. Right here, wraps around the yellow line. A little bit faster last time around than our race leader. Nicholas Snyder moving a little slow, moving through the field, still has speed. I'll bet a touch slower possibly than he was earlier, but it's not egregiously slow. Back up front, things starting to spread out just a little bit. Lap 40 of 105, a bit more single file. Take the moment here to try to go through these drivers. Brandon Meyer, one we didn't mention earlier, P2, Andover, New Hampshire. Bismarck, North Dakota for Eric Schurer. Mike Aiello Jr., we mentioned earlier, Greenwich, Connecticut. Nicholas Snyder, Marco Island, Florida is his hometown. Chad Rowe, nothing depicted, unfortunately. Winchester for Reggie Packard. Chris Gilbert, Colorado Springs. He is now 6.5 seconds back from the nearest car and 12.5 seconds from the race lead. Honestly, didn't lose too much from that single car spin that occurred earlier. Trying to catch his spin one more time. There it is, hits the dog leg, upsets the car, goes around real quick, gathers it back up as quickly as possible, stays on the lead lap. So lap 45 of 50, or excuse me, of 105 here for the championship race at Phoenix. All right, so still out front is Charbonneau, the number 9 machine, Meyer P2, 3 Assurer, 4 Snyder, who we thought could have been the end of it for that driver. Still in it currently, trying to make things happen if he can. Chris Gilbert a little bit further back. Chad Rowe all by himself right here, P6. Just had word that number 2, Liam Ervig, has arrived. He'll be in the booth in just a moment with us. He'll be here to call the end of this finale. Going to take a second. Final 3 drivers, Snyder, Gilbert, Aiello Jr., as they run currently. Snyder has moved his way back to the front of those final 3. He scored in P4, had been just gotten around Aiello Jr. in that Ford 77 machine. Chris Gilbert, P8, slowly making up ground on Aiello Jr., but not super fast. Starting to catch up to some of these cars that are straggling back a little bit further. We saw that single car spin. Probably going to need some help to get there. But now that we've seen a couple single car spins, I expect this still to be an issue as we continue going forward. And ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned a moment ago, Liam Ervig had arrived, waiting just a second longer here before he is ready to go here. Lap 50 of 105, almost to the halfway point of this event. You see right there that looked like Eric Schur getting into the wall. Come a little bit further back as you see Chris Gilbert having just gone around Reggie Packard. Chad Rowe is going to be the next car for that driver as he's on his march to try to get back into position for this championship. All right, joining me now in the booth is Liam Ervig. Liam, it's great for you to be here. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for coming. What we need to know, or what you need to know, is you've got 3 drivers tonight that are battling for a championship. And that's Nick Snyder, the number 5, Chris Gilbert in the 35, Mike Aiello Jr. in the number 77. The only driver of these 3 not to have trouble so far is Aiello Jr. Snyder and Chris Gilbert have both had spins in this event. So you're in for a championship race, Liam. You've been here at Phoenix before. As the laps wind down, what are you excited to see?
Well, anybody who knows me, who's heard me call the race before, you know how much I love talking about these tires, how much they're going to wear down in the Phoenix sun here. These things don't like that transition getting down onto the dogleg. So just as I say that, the 33, Brandon Meyer, jumps down to make the pass, or rather try to keep Eric Scherer behind him. But
Well,
As
this is
these
the
guys
problem.
get further into the run, you're going to see a little bit more sliding up the racetrack, a little bit more slip and sliding out of these drivers.
And so you know, most drivers did take tires around lap 30. So it was about lap 32. And where we saw trouble for the driver number 35, Chris Gilbert, who for the better part of the first half of the race, first 45 laps, was in the top 4. He tried to cut the dog leg. It upset the car, and he went around. No contact with the wall, single car spin, no caution came out. He's trying to recover from that right now, and he's still 10 seconds behind Mike Aiello Jr., and that would only be for second. So the 3 drivers, this is a final 3, not a final 4, and you can see 2 of them right here, 4th and 5th, Snyder and Aiello Jr. I have to say Snyder's the favorite. 28 starts, 11 wins, 23 top 5s, 28 top 10s. But when you come down to a one race takes all situation, if you're in it, you can win it. So even with his resume, Aiello Jr. and Chris Gilbert are not out of this yet.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to get up there to Nick Snyder, though. He's got about 8/10 up in front of the 77 right now. This obviously is the battle for the championship. Little bit of a wall scrape there, potentially out of our top 2, as the next 2 are getting closer and closer. Brandon Meyer got Eric Scherer getting closer to his rear bumper. A couple of different lines being tried here. Wider exit, wider arc for the 22 down to the inside. He's going to have enough to maybe... Oh, he's not going to have enough to get next to him or try to slide him here, but might have the run coming up off turn number 2.
No, I really expected the way that he took that wider entry. I thought that was going to work for him. It almost looks like he didn't fully commit to it. I can't say for sure. I'm not the driver behind. And even right there, a bit of a run now, side by side, going to take the dog leg. I think this is going to work out for him. Not quite, not clear just yet. Now he's clear, moving to 22 up to second.
That brings Nick Snyder in at the 5, ever so much closer to this battle, further away from the car behind him. Mike Aiello in the 77 machine. Still got a ways to go here, though. 45 laps to go the next time the leader crosses the start-finish line. We've still got time for these things to wear out, for things to change throughout the course of this race. We've got still 9 drivers left on the lead lap.
And something I want to mention about Snyder is he had his incident and he went around. He did contact the wall, so he has a little bit of damage. However, when he went back in the pit for that, he took a little bit more fuel than everybody once, and then he got a little more fuel again. And I think he is on some slightly fresher tires than the 3 cars in front of him. Not by a lot, but I think he's on fresher tires by about 9 or 10 laps. And if this goes green in 40 laps, that's going to make a huge difference.
It certainly can. I mean, these guys are absolutely pushing it to the limit. You can see that out of the 33 and the 22 just in front of the Nicholas Snyder machine. These guys slipping and sliding, definitely not doing their tires any favors. But he potentially have 44, 45 more laps to go on them. You're going to want to try to stay as friendly as possible, not let them slip and slide around too much on this hot racing surface.
Now tell me, is Phoenix abrasive or not so much?
Not as much as it used to be. But these guys also don't have the benefit of having a little bit of a grip strip up on the top, some PJ1 or resin or whatever NASCAR's put down there in previous years. When you get up out of the groove, much like anywhere you're running, you're going to kill that right front and it's going to tighten up on you big time. The thing about Phoenix, though, is it being so small, you tend to see a lot of guys sliding up the racetrack in the corners. So the groove ends up becoming halfway to maybe even 3/4 of the way up the racetrack by the end of this thing.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that as the track temperatures, I assume, might be coming up just a little bit from the cars on track. I believe it was 78 degrees when we started the event. Still showing 78 degrees for the track temperature, so not too hot. I guess this is about the way late October, or actually it would be early November would be for a championship race at Phoenix Motor Speedway. Gonna come back here, check on Chris Gilbert. He's making progress on those other two contenders. The gap now under 10 seconds from Gilbert to Snyder, and it used to be around 12 seconds, so he's a little faster, slowly making up ground on these guys.
Is it going to be enough, though? Is he going to have enough time without a caution flag?
I don't think it's gonna without a caution and some help. I don't think so, because I do expect the tires to equalize a bit, and he's on the same, for the most part, the same pit strategy, but I just don't expect him to close 0.3 a lap every lap like I believe he's gonna need. That's what quick math is telling me. But as
it's going to be a tough
said,
one. Lost a little bit of time that lap, so not what he wanted to have happen. Chris Gilbert.
Yeah, I was going to say, as Frank Marchese said, SRM still hasn't hired anybody that knows how to do math. So,
You know, I think a little bit of practice, I'll get better at it. Last week for ISNF, I was writing down playoff points that didn't matter. I'll be ready for when they do. It don't really matter here, though. It's just a 3-car battle. Winner take all for the championship. And Mike Aiello Jr. is getting a little bit closer to Nicholas Snyder once again. That gap is now back under 3/4 of a second, when it was up almost at a second when we saw Snyder getting up racy with Brandon Meyer in the 33 just in front of him. John, have you ever raced for a championship?
no. Well,
Me neither. So what do you suppose, as two guys who have no idea what's going through these guys' minds right now, what do you suppose they're thinking as you see the car right in front of you or right behind you that you could potentially be racing for a championship over these next 35 laps?
well, if I'm Aiello Jr., I just want to stay with Snyder right now. Snyder's been kind of the class of the field all race. If I can stay with them and I can see him, I have an opportunity to beat him, and they're a half second apart. However, Snyder got around Aiello Jr., so I feel that he might be a little bit more competitive. But something else to take into account is I haven't seen Aiello Jr. wiggle. I haven't seen him get loose, and I've seen that from Nicholas Snyder. So if you're Snyder, you're saying, I've got to keep this guy behind me. Aiello Jr., you want to find any way
There's even a
possible.
wiggle.
Yeah, there's the wiggle there. You want to find any way possible.
Oh, bigger wiggle. Watch how sideways he is on entry here. That's going to be a huge chunk of time in favor of the 77, Mike Aiello Jr. He looks down to the inside going into turn 3.
Inside, side by side, going to complete the pass with ease. And so this is where the pressure gets up. The stress level's a little bit higher. Snyder might be able to catch him with the crossover. Side by side. Not going to work right there. Dogleg not in favor of Snyder. However, here we go.
Aiello doesn't get the entry. And now Snyder back down to the inside. Oh, car to the wall. Back straightaway. That's the 33 from running in 3rd position. Brandon Meyer.
Yeah, no caution out. Something notable. Chris Gilbert coming down pit road, so some drivers may need fuel. Might be opting to short pit here if he gets a good stop. Fresh tires might help him out a bit.
And if you're the 5 of Nicholas Snyder, you just got passed at the end of this run, do you try to take the short pit, try the undercut on your championship rival in the 77 just in front of you?
You know, I would normally say yes, but I know he's got enough fuel to make it. Gilbert coming off pit road now after a 14.63 pit stop. I think that's going to put him a single lap down. I do think he's going to be able to go chase that driver down and get that lap back, because he's not that far behind. Gilbert to Charbonneau right there. Aiello Jr. down pit road.
He's going to leave Nicholas Snyder out there all on his lonesome. Said if Snyder can make it, this could be what seals the deal.
Now,
but if he's close, you might be looking at this Aiello pit stop thinking, I have got to get in as quick as possible.
Now you can see the little damage on that machine right there as compared to this one. But after talking to him and during a caution for an interview, he mentioned that he didn't want to make 2 stops. So he took more fuel early, so perhaps he is thinking about going all the way to the end.
Well, I feel like you're getting into the place where your bet is going to start to be made. We've got 30 laps to go here in this championship finale at Phoenix. Nicholas Snyder sits in second place. He should assume... Oh, he's around on pit entry into the inside wall.
Oh,
Gasses it back up. We'll see how significant the damage is. He was just way too hot on entry there and fortunately lost the back end of it.
just insanity right there. We're going to try to catch that one more time here. Got to back it all the way up. I don't have an event for this occurring. Trying to get everything he can get right here.
Big pits would have worked for him.
Yeah, a lot of rear brake bias right there, I think.
I wonder if he maybe was just coming in too hot and had to jam on those brakes to try to keep him from speeding. Obviously, this is not what he wanted to have happen, but as long as the damage isn't too bad, that's got to be better than a speeding penalty on pit lane. He's going to have a couple lap fresher tires as he gets off of the pits. Let's see how this car handles, though, as he gets out right behind Mike Aiello Jr.
And I want to mention now that these 3 drivers are now within 5 seconds of each other. Aiello Jr. in 4th, Snyder's 5th, and 4 seconds behind them is Chris Gilbert. You know, slightly less fresh tires, but pretty clean race car. We saw that he was able to make some time the last 30, 40 laps. So he's still got an uphill battle because there's not that much time remaining. But he's not out of this yet, especially if these 2 drivers get to fighting. I'm going to put a graphic back up on screen. I know you can't see it, but Aiello Jr., 27 starts, 1 win, but he's got 20 top 5s and 26 top 10s. So nearly as consistent as Nick Snyder, just without the wins to showcase for it. And you know what? Who cares if the other guy beat me 11 times if I win the championship? I don't really care so much.
You know, Mark Martin, maybe not Mark Martin because he never won one, but Matt Kenseth, he won his championship on pure consistency. Obviously, that was a different points format than we're seeing in this day and age, but to see a driver who's so consistent through in and throughout the weeks of the season, go out here, race for a championship, be able to lead it towards the end of these things, that's got to be really nice. That's got to be a really nice feeling for the team, for the driver, for everybody who puts together that ride.
And that makes me, it also goes back to thinking early in the chase format how Ryan Newman very nearly won the championship without winning a single race. Very nearly did it. And then, if I remember, he finished P2 at Homestead.
Oh, to your champion, none other than one Mr. Closer, Kevin Harvick.
That's right. That was 2014. I believe 2014, that is. Never would have seen it coming.
What that 77 does not want to see coming is the number 9 in his rearview mirror. That is a lapped car, so it's not for position, so he doesn't really have a reason to fight. If you're the 9 car, you know the leader is just a straightaway in front of you. If you can get around the 77 machine, work your way up to the leader, you're already in position for the free pass. But if you get past the leader, get your lap back the hard way, you don't have to start at the tail end of the lead lap if you get that caution for the free pass.
Now, we need to talk about this for a second. Until he pitted, he's led more laps than Nicholas Snyder. Tristan Charbonneau had about 50 laps led, give or take a couple. It looks like he had speeding or something happened on pit road, and he had a 55-second pit stop, and that has now put him a lap down. He looks like he just got, nope, still he's a lap down, without really any chance, in my opinion, to get back to the front.
He's going to need some help. He's going to need a caution. He's going to have to get around that 22 of Eric Scherer as well, and that is just going to be a tough ask here as we have 21 laps to go at the stripe. Eric Scherer leads the race over Brandon Meyer, Mike Aiello Jr., Nicholas Snyder, and Chris Gilbert, rounding out your top 5 here at Phoenix. John, we got a battle on our hands right here.
Yeah, this is for your championship right here. Snyder down low and Aiello Jr. on the high side. Right here, at what point you can't, I feel like you can't give this up. You're just going to have to fight and fight and fight. Someone's tires are going to wear out first. I prefer that middle to high lane.
Goes on entry up the racetrack, slides the 5 of Snyder, and he's going to have the run coming up off the corner. Likely have him cleared down the back straightaway. Do we see a crossover?
Just Mike Aiello, it's a hard name to say, seems to have a little bit more momentum coming right here, but not quite enough. Within a car length of each other, does he have something into this corner?
Looked like he thought about maybe getting the bumper, checked up on the brakes, and that messed up his corner in the middle. Lost a bit of time. Now he dives it back down to the bottom through the dogleg. Just under the apron. They're trying to gain a little bit of time and distance here on the 5 in front of him. Wider line now through turns 1 and 2. Cuts down to try to get the momentum. Got a little bit, but is it going to be enough here as we have less than 20 laps to go to decide a champion, and all 3 of these guys are now within 4 seconds of each other. More of these top 2 in front battle. Closer Chris Gilbert's going to get.
Yeah, Gilbert just hoping these 2 continue after it, because if he can get there and they have a little bit more worn out stuff, well, that could be saying something, but, you know, lap times, I don't think they're shaking up to be quite what he needs them to be. In fact, he was a little bit slower that time around than both of them, and these 2 drivers are battling.
You're the 77. You're this close. Losing a little bit of time on corner exit. Obviously, we've still got going to be 16 laps to go at the start-finish line, but when is it the window to put the bumper to him? Is that even an option here for the championship? Or do you want to race this out in a respectful manner? You know, not to say that bump and run is disrespectful, but if you can pull it off right, it's all right.
You know,
I don't know. Are we going to see a Daniel Hemrick, Austin Cindric, or are we going to see a Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson?
You know, I'm not so sure how this is going to go down. You know, one guy's got 11 wins, the other one has, if I recall, checking the graphic here, one win. And there's 2 different rules of thumb. Oh, you shouldn't turn him to win the race. And other people are like, well, I shouldn't have let him get to me. As you see Snyder stepping away, Aiello's going to try to take the dog leg to cut the track. Just doesn't quite work right there. You know, and I feel like it never works. It only works on restarts.
It's definitely shown to be hit or miss, at least throughout the course of this race.
Could you repeat that for me?
I said it's definitely shown to be hit or miss, at least throughout the course of this race.
Yeah, I just don't see the advantage. In fact, I've seen more cars spin off of it than it passes work. Under 15 laps remaining. Eric Scherer out front with a healthy gap over Brandon Meyer. Snyder and Aiello Jr. starting to slowly step away from Chris Gilbert, who's going to be kicking him himself for the single car spin he had when he got down to the dog leg if nothing happens. And the only drivers that I think are at risk of any kind of contact are these 2 drivers battling for the championship, and they've almost got 0.4 of a second between them now.
77's going to have to try to change something up on his entry if he wants to get that run coming up off of turn number 4, because that's where he's getting beat. Once again, down to that dog leg. You see he's able to cut down into that lead just a bit, but it hurts his entry into 3 and 4. He has to slide a little bit wide, or rather 1 and 2. It's been how many years and I'm still not used to this?
It's a weird track, I understand. You know, I felt like he was going to be able to carry a lot of speed right there. And here it is. It seems like he just can't quite roll the middle. And that's the difference. And he's going to take down to the dog leg once again. If he can hold his speed right here around the middle, he does. It looks solid. Can he keep that on his exit? Go on board with him.
Keeps it right there. He was able to gain a 10th that time around.
Oh, he is there.
Oh, he looks up to the top side. He's going to gas it up. He's got cleaner air than he's had, but not able to keep it down on the power. You heard him have to lift off the throttle there, and that's going to be very costly in this battle.
Yeah, he overdrove it a lot. That's going to cost him about 0.3 of a second. Can he gather it up, cool the tires down, try it again in the next couple laps? You know, that might have been his one opportunity, really, to tap Snyder. He may not have another shot at it.
This is championship weekend. This is the finale. These are the last 10 laps of your season, the last 9 laps now. So if you've got anything for the car in front, this is where you use it. There's no more time for saving stuff now. You've got to put the pedal to the metal and just go for it if you're Mike Aiello. And if you're the 5 of Nick Snyder, you have got to be hoping that he doesn't get to you because you don't know how he's going to race you. This is for a championship. You don't know for sure what you're going to get. It could be clean. It could be a little bit bumpy. You never know. We could see them both get together and Chris Gilbert gets here to win this thing. We just don't know when we're in the last 7 laps of the season to find out.
And, you know, and I really can't imagine a driver who spun his car twice in only a 105-lap race is in position to finish P3 and win the championship. And if I'm Aiello Jr., I've got a problem with that. I've ran a super clean race, no problems, no mistakes, and I'm going to get beat by a guy who has spun out twice. Once on track.
Big mistake there out of Aiello. Sorry to interrupt you there, but he had a big sideways moment through the center of 3 and 4 and lost a ton more time. That gap is almost up to a second now.
And I just saw another slide out of him right there. I think his tires are done.
He's going to have one last chance to get to him, make something happen, but it's going to be tough. He's got a long way to go and a short time to get there. There are 6 laps remaining in this race.
Checking out your leader. He's checked out almost 4.5 seconds on Meyer.
I believe Meyer had an issue, too, coming up off of turn number 2 a little bit earlier. I know we saw him get into the wall when we were live, but I think he had himself a little bit of an issue. He lost some time to the race leader. Nicholas Snyder got himself 5 more laps, 4.5 more miles at this point. Win himself a championship. A little bit of a loose moment there through 1 and 2, but doesn't seem to be enough to hurt his speed. Meanwhile, Mike Aiello Jr., the king of consistency throughout the course of the season, like John said, 28 starts, 20 top 5s, and 26 top 10s. In a league this competitive, that really says something. Even if it's not in the win column, he deserves to be racing here for the championship.
Yeah, when you come in and you don't make mistakes, you don't spin out, that'll get you pretty far. Unfortunately, it just doesn't seem like that's going to get you far enough by only 1 position this time. He's cut the gap a little bit, but just at this point, if he doesn't cut the gap drastically or get some help by another spin right here out of Nicholas Snyder, he's just not going to be there.
And Snyder, since those spins, since getting up into the championship lead, has been virtually flawless. We saw the 77 chase him down on older tires. We're not going to have enough time for that this time around, especially with how much we've seen that 77 slide. We lost a ton more time this time around. So only 2 more laps to go for Nicholas Snyder to become a champion. Only about a lap and a half left for Eric Scherer to close out this season with a checkered flag, with a race win.
All right, it's going to be a lap and a half back up to the front for the 22 machine of Eric Scherer. It's starting to look like dual burnouts are going to be a thing. White flags in the air. It's only going to be 24 more seconds till we crown a champion and a race winner. Down to the back stretch, side stretch, whatever you want to call it here for Phoenix, for Eric Scherer. Past the restart zone. put the nail in the coffin for the 23 season for GUNR4SR Championship. Nicholas Snyder is going to come home with it. Hasn't quite crossed the line. Excuse me, he did cross the line. I was losing my train of thought. Spun twice. Once on track, once on pit road. Your champion, 1 position over Ilo Jr., 2 positions over Chris Gilbert.
Well, what a show we got to see here today. Obviously, I was only here for the second half of it, but we were treated to some fantastic racing here at Phoenix, and what a battle.
A little surprised to see right here you got Nicholas Snyder burn it down as a champion. Just trying to see, okay, sure, is just going to go ahead and take victory lane. Call it good. He's going to park his machine just right there. That's shot worthy right there, in my opinion. Snyder still doing burnouts for the championship. We're going to have to watch these for just a moment. '05 HendrickCars.com Chevrolet for Nick Snyder. Still at it. Look at all that smoke that's putting off from that view right there. Can you get all the way around, Liam? Is he going to go all the way around?
Oh, well, let's see. Maybe while we're talking or watching him, we can bring in our race winner into the booth here. We got Eric Scherer, the race winner, live in the booth here. Eric, ran a great race.
Yes, sir.
You ran a great race, and it came to you towards the end after that last pit strategy. Did you have any idea that it was going to fall your way?
I thought I was going to finish second. I mean, Christian, he was faster than everybody today, but I guess maybe he had a penalty or something. But sometimes you get lucky, and able to get my first win. I think it was my first win of the year in the Cup Series, so it came at the last race. But win's a win. I'll take it.
Yeah, the timing could not have been better to make sure you get one this season. We see you sitting in victory lane. Who's on that race car? Who helps you get it done? What's that team situation looking like? Who you want to thank?
I've had Rocket League and Budweiser, a few other sponsors on the car all year. Kind of been rolling with the Tyler Reddick schemes mainly, but yeah, GUNR4SR guys using NASCAR rules sim racing. That's the league help run, and race Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights. Just kind of been rolling with those guys for the past few years, and a lot of clean racing. We pride ourselves on having a lot of races go caution free all year long. So yeah, we had a good long green run here tonight, and worked out this time for us.
Well, you definitely threw together an awesome race. Congratulations on getting it done here and taking a little bit of the story away from your championship battle.
Yeah, it is what it is. Kind of pulled a Chastain. Chastain did that for the Cup Series a couple weeks ago. But hey, I thought about it, but hey, got to get a win no matter what. I haven't won many of these races in the next gen car, so win's a win, and I'll take it. Usually not very good at Phoenix, but kind of hit on the setup. Setup felt really good tonight, and just was able to keep it clean and first cross the line.
Some stuff. Congratulations again on the race win. We'll let you go back and celebrate.
Yep, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
That was your race winner, Eric Scherer. Next up, we've got some championship drivers to talk to. Well, John, what do you think? Should we start with our champion?
He's busy. Let's go ahead and talk with Brandon Meyer, P2 finisher, and then we'll get to Chris Gilbert. We'll talk to Snyder last. He's still a little hyper out there on track, I think, isn't he?
Are you back to live yet?
I'm not. You're right. I'm sorry.
Good.
I went ahead and watched the white flag as we were talking to Sure there. My mistake.
No mistake at all. It was a pretty awesome white flag for that number 22.
Well, that being said, then let's go ahead and bring on the champion.
Well, Nick Snyder, it is Liam and John up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, after 105 laps here at Phoenix and a very, very difficult battle, it seemed, with the 77 throughout the course of that last two fuel runs, you come home with the trophy, with the championship on the season. How does it feel to be able to call yourself the champ for 2023?
Feels pretty good. I definitely thought I threw it away there right after the stage break when the car just broke loose and unexpectedly, and I overcorrected. I thought I gave it away right then and there, and just fought hard. I mean, Mike definitely had to give me. He made me push the car a lot more than what my car could handle, and it was good racing with him, and just happy that he raced cleanly and was able just to walk away.
Now, walk us through that battle that you guys had after the pit stop. You were able to chase down the 77 and make that pass, but he didn't drop away from you very quickly. He stayed pretty close for quite a few laps. Did you have any sort of nerves going through you, or were you just Iron Man, cool, calm, and collected?
Oh, nerves were definitely running through. I just knew I didn't have, the straightaway speed, with the damage that I had, and I was afraid that I pitted too late and he would have a major gap advantage. I was just trying to play, at least get to 30 to go. That way I know what, my car could handle, because once I got past that 30 lap mark, I just got wicked loose and just had no drive off, and that's when he got by me before we made that green flag pit stop.
And then it's interesting to note your green flag pit stop. You mentioned the damage. Obviously, you got in there and got sideways and got into the inside wall. We can talk about that, but also the fact that you still only came out 1 second off of that 77 car. So you didn't lose a whole heck of a lot of time. Seemed like that might have been a better call than speeding.
Yeah, I don't even know what happened. I thought I was just coming in there nice and smooth, like what I practice and in practice. I guess just with the damage and stuff, it just kind of threw it for a loop. But I think the wall definitely saved me from completely coming around, and probably slowed me down enough where I wouldn't get caught speeding.
You did an incredible job here today on the racetrack. Is there anybody who helps you get it done off the racetrack or even on that you want to give a shout out to for such a strong performance, such a strong year?
The top three. It was fun racing with the guys all year, even the people that didn't make it out. They were contenders week in and week out. But I definitely made a ton of mistakes, tonight. Well, I didn't make mistakes up to lap 25 after that stage break is when I constantly made mistakes. But yeah, thank you, Eric, for everything you do for the series, and looking forward to 2024.
Stuff, man. We'll let you go and celebrate. Congratulations once again on being the champion of this season. You have definitely earned it.
Thank you, sir.
That was your champion, Nick Snyder.
Well, that being said, let's go on over to Brandon Meyer. I was looking to get in touch with Chris Gilbert. I saw him in here. It looks like he might have stepped back out. We'll give him a couple moments if he is listening. We do still want to hear from Chris Gilbert.
before we do that, John, you get Brandon up in here.
Here he is, Brandon Meyer, P2 finisher here for tonight at Phoenix. This is Liam and Jonathan in the booth.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty well, Brandon. We saw for a minute you were challenging. I think it was Nicholas Snyder, and then or no, I believe it might have been Sure for first. I think you had
Yep.
some contact with the wall, and that kind of took you out of that battle for the lead. If it wasn't for that, do you think you had anything for the race win?
No, absolutely not. I came into that practice this afternoon or this evening and could not steer that car. I got a little help with some settings there, and I figured it out. But yeah, I came out of, what was it, turn 2, and I downshifted too quick or upshifted by an accident, and the ass end came around. I hit the wall, and I'm like, oh, I'm out of it. And there was really no damage to it, and I brought it home P2, so I was very pleased with that. I struggled a lot in this league this year. I only had 2 wins, one at Daytona, one at Talladega. Besides that, I was either mid-pack or I'd wreck halfway through the race and bail out. So I'm happy with a second place tonight.
Well, second place, there's nothing. I guess you can't hang your head too low on this one. Anyone you'd like to mention or thank before we let you go? And are you looking forward to the next season? It seems like Eric always puts together a solid league, and hopefully maybe we get some more events broadcasted this next time around.
Yeah, thank you guys for doing this tonight. That was kind of cool. I didn't realize anything was being broadcasted until tonight. I'm like, oh, that's going to be a neat one. Championship, that's kind of cool. Eric for putting this on all year, both leagues actually. Mike Ayalo, he runs the other league I'm in, and him and I sit in our chat room all race long and talk. Anyone that comes out and races this every week, you guys are pretty good competition. Congratulations to Nick on the championship. That's kind of feel bad what happened to Chris Gilbert there, but that happens when you cut that dog leg. If you're not straight, you're going to spin it out. I did it first lap. So, but no, thanks everyone for a good season. I don't know if I'll be back next year. I pick and choose what I want to do, so we'll see. I took a few weeks off and then came and ran it tonight. So, yeah, thank you. It was fun.
Well, words from Brandon Meyer, P2. Good race for you, sir. I hope you have a good night.
You too. Thanks.
William, I guess that'll finish up our interviews for tonight's race. Thanks for making it out for this one so we could finish it up in style here at Phoenix for the Gunner Cup Series. They've done this a couple times now where we've done the championship race. And I believe at one point we did do a whole season for them. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think you called a few races for them. It's probably been a couple years now, but
Yeah, might have done 1 or 2 for these guys, but we were treated to an incredible show tonight, and I'm sure that was the case throughout the entire season. These guys were racing hard, but racing clean. We saw some mistakes, bring out the caution early, change up the strategy, but when it came right down to the nitty-gritty, we saw 2 guys racing hard for a championship and racing each other clean. And I know when we're up in the booth, we sit here and try to make things a little bit more dramatic and talk about, oh, is there going to be contact? But that was truly an incredible race for the championship lead by both drivers. Both guys gave it up once, got it back once, and in the end, Nick Snyder comes out with the championship. Truly amazing show, and I'm just happy to have been here.
yeah, well, we're glad you were here. Now, one thing left to do is to go through the final results. Obviously, race winner Eric Schur doesn't even do a burnout, leaves him for Nicholas Snyder, just takes his way right over to victory lane. We'll call it Ryan Blaney style. Brandon Meyer, P2, just heard from him. Snyder, our champion, finishes P3, just over Aiello and Chris Gilbert that round out the top 5.
For that, we've got Chad Rowe, Christian Sherbano, Jordan Tansel, Reggie Packard, and Dakota Dahl rounding out the top 10. Jonathan Eason and Rob Charbonneau round out the field here at Phoenix.
All right, well, folks, once again, thank you for being here for this show. Special shout out to the Gunner League for the championship race at Phoenix. We had a blast being here. I hope to do this again sometime, possibly more races into whatever seasons come next. And only one thing left to say. The late, great Tony Trapasso.
I'm sorry, I
Go
know.
ahead.
I just want to say a lot of us wouldn't do what we do without a guy like Ken Squire, and he's in hospice care, likely living out his final days. So I don't know. Shout out to Ken. Thank you for everything, and thoughts and prayers.
Roger that. And as shout out to Tony, same thing actually. However, Tony has already passed on, but as he'd always say, as you've walked through life, please do not play in traffic. Good night, everyone. We'll see you next time, next season, next championship race.